This was my first race in 2024, and I did what's called a hill climb race, which is basically that. This is what I found out after the race. You have a section of the race that's a hill climb, which is timed, and that's your position. So it doesn't really matter how fast you go before the climb or after the climb, it's that section of the race that matters. And during this race, I didn't know where it was, when it was, or what I was looking for. I just treated the race as a normal race and went for it. And I did record myself, but the microphone on the laptop is awful, and I asked the laptop to do way too many things, so it is a little bit glitchy on the visual, but I'm going to do the audio on the mic, so repeat what I've said on the mic so it doesn't sound like I'm gargling like charcoal. It was just disgusting. For this race, what I wanted to try and do was get around 2.6 or 2.7 watts per kilo throughout the whole race, because that's what I did before Christmas, and having put weight on, I figured that would make sense. During the race, I realised, actually, because my laptop was doing so much, that the frame rate was quite bad. It was still usable, but the laptop was very obvious that it was struggling, so what I may do in the future is reduce the amount I'm asking it to do, because it made keeping up with the other races or other people in the race quite difficult, and if it's not based on an incline hill and it's actually based on place, then I think I will actually need a better FPS. You can't seem to see the lag in the video though, which is nice. And as I'm cycling, I'm looking out for a hill. I'm looking out for something to tell me when this hill incline race thing starts. And I notice, okay, this is a 3% incline. Maybe it's starting around now, but then it starts going downhill. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not here. And I keep trying to work out when this thing starts. Noticing the 5%, I then start using some more colourful language because it just feels nasty. Obviously, it's a hill climber, so I knew it was going to not feel great, but yeah, the 5% wasn't comfortable, and my language started getting a little bit more colourful. And as people started breaking away, I looked over at the people that were racing, and I could see the hill climbers, and I'm assuming they're like ghosts or people to follow or something like that, but they really confused me, because I was looking to see the people, like the avatars, are they moving, or is it the ghost things that you can see in the right side? I just wasn't sure, so I was getting kind of confused. So at this point, I decided to ignore the avatars a bit and just focus on my heart rate and my watts, because that's obviously what I can focus on, because that's consistent or somewhat consistent. And my heart rate was actually better than expected. Even though my legs were starting to feel a little bit jelly, my heart rate was below 180. And for those that watched the last couple of videos, my heart rate seems to sit at 180, irrespective of where I'm going. So 170, even though it's high for a lot of people, it's low for me for some reason. But then everyone it seemed to speed up, and then it got to a 7% incline, which was really nasty. I really need to have a look at the race or the track, the world, beforehand to work out what percentages are high, because I thought 5% was high, but 7%, that doesn't feel great, and towards the top of that 7%, I was not feeling good. I think the amount of rubbish food that I'd eaten over Christmas started to fight back, and yeah, I kind of felt sick, not gonna lie. And then I was dropped from the pack, but I think some of them were in the B category, some in the C category, I didn't really know, but at this point my legs were not feeling great. I physically wasn't feeling great, and I thought, you know what, I just need to work out where this thing starts. So I was expecting something on screen, and looking at how long I had left, I had about 3k left to go, I was thinking, there's got to be something that comes up. And then, there it is. I noticed the time block, and I think, okay, well, it hasn't started because there's no start line, and then you see the green thing across the floor, and I'm like, right, that must be the start. So I start pushing, and I thought, you know what, let's stand up because I'm going to put more watts out. And immediately, that was a bad idea. As soon as I stood up, all of the power that I thought I had in my legs just vanished. I had nothing. I was like, nope. So I sat straight back down and just started pushing. And I was just sitting there going, okay, how long is this? How long have I got to do this for? Is this all uphill? I wasn't entirely sure. So I just put my head down and pushed. And and on the audio, I'm just sitting there swearing and not being very nice to the camera. So I'm glad I'm doing the audio now, but it was just felt so long. What actually made this worse is that the bike that I'm using, it's an old mountain bike, which you can't really see well, but the gears don't work very well. So I have the big gear at the front, which is 3. There's a small, medium, and a large. I'm on the biggest one, 3. but then there are 7 in the back, and the bottom 3, 4 in the back don't really work very well. If you change it, it skips it and goes up and down gears. It's very inconsistent, and if I want to move it from the big cog to the medium cog, again, the same sorts of things, it jumps from the bottom to the medium, so I just had to sit at a gear that wasn't comfortable. I tried moving it, but it kept skipping me around, and you can see the watts going up and down where my gears are fiddling all over the place, and that was not fun. Then I notice on the map that it gets to like a gate thing showing on the map, and I'm thinking, right, that's the end, let's try and get to the top, and I just had nothing left in my legs at this point, so I just pushed as hard as I could at that point to get up to the hill to get over the line. At which point, it shows me that I came last, which I was kind of expecting because I'm unfit, I didn't train, haven't done the race before, didn't know what to expect, so I was expecting to come last, hence my focus on the 2.6/2.7 watts per kilo for the race, but I now have a time for the hill climb. Then cycling it out, I get towards the end of the race and I figured, actually, you know what, 300 meters left, let's just push everything that I've got out of me to try and get some sort of sprint going, and I mean, I got to 300 watts, which was sort of nice, but I know my peak is like 600-700 watts, so yeah, my legs were just completely dead. And when we go in and have a look, you can see in the watts per kilo, I was holding 2.7 watts per kilo. So I actually hit what I wanted to do throughout the race. My time was 3:05. Whether that's good or not, obviously, is dependent on previous scores, but I don't have a previous score. So that's my benchmark to try and improve on. And it seems like I'm in the right place. I'm right at the bottom of Cat C, but above Cat D. And as I go across the numbers, I was pretty consistent all the way through. I mean, I wouldn't say I did anything special, but this is 73 kilos. I've gained 4 kilos in like 3 weeks. That's really bad. So I'm going to lose the weight, and hopefully that watt per kilo will go back up, and then we can give this another go, and I will actually know when to push and when not to push.